The wedding, 3 months in the making, took place as planned, but after just one night, I decisively chose to file for divorce. The reason? Before bed, Owen transferred 1,000 yuan to me. Then another 2,000 in the middle of the night. The memo read, "Final." I couldn't stand it. The very next morning, I announced my intention to divorce in front of William and Margaret. William and Margaret, who had just presented me with gift envelopes, were stunned. Owen slammed his hand on the table, stood up, and pointed an angry finger at me. "I only transferred money to you because I felt for you. What are you making a scene about now?" I replied coldly. "I'd like to know what kind of pity makes someone split money into a deposit and a final payment." "Skylar." Owen's voice was filled with rage, and he stared at me, utterly disbelieving. "We just got married, and you're already making a scene, desperate to control me. Isn't it a bit too soon? I'll have the divorce papers drafted by noon. I'll come find you then. It'd be best if we sign them and head to the courthouse right away, without further argument." I stated my plans coolly and turned to leave. Margaret's hand, still extended with the cash gift, hadn't yet retracted. William looked completely bewildered, clearly at a loss as to what could have possibly happened between Owen and me after just one night of marriage. Owen froze for a moment, then his face registered pure shock. He hadn't expected my stance to be so resolute, as if my word was law. After quickly having the divorce papers drafted by a lawyer, I took them directly to Owen's company. As soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw William and Margaret sitting outside Owen's office, waiting for me. They had obviously received word beforehand and were there to persuade me. Unmoved, I walked straight towards the office. Tiffany, Owen's secretary, stepped forward to block my path. "Mrs. Owen? Owen is working right now. Outsiders aren't allowed in. Besides, Owen told me you're making a scene about divorce on your very first day of marriage. Mrs. Owen, as a fellow woman, I advise you to know when to quit. Don't forget how good Owen has been to you. You said you wanted to see the Northern, and he dropped everything to fly all over the world with you. You casually mentioned you didn't want to cook, and he spent 3 months learning gourmet cuisine. A good man is hard to find. And if you keep making a scene like this, you might not be able to resolve it." Employees, drawn by the words "making a scene about divorce," had overheard the conversation and started coming forward as well. "Tiffany is right," one said. "Mr. Owen turned down multi-million-dollar deals just to be with you. It's clear how much he loves you." "Exactly, Mrs. Owen," another added. "Please don't mind us speaking up, but Mr. Owen is a truly rare good man. You must treat him well." As they finished their chatter, the office door suddenly opened. Owen walked out, casting a grateful glance at Tiffany, who smiled back, understanding. Then he turned to me, stepped forward, and took my hand, his expression sincere. "Skylar, I know you've always been so considerate and understanding of all my decisions. Is this because I didn't transfer the money to you all at once, and it lacked a sense of occasion? Did that make you feel wronged? Or is there something else I don't know about? Tell me, and we can solve it together, okay?" William and Margaret also joined the crowd, gently trying to persuade me. "That's right, Skylar," William said. "While I don't know what happened between you two last night, I'm sure it's minor. Can't you just talk things through? If upset you, don't be afraid. I'll take your side and make sure he apologizes to you," Margaret added. Everyone watched my reaction, hoping I would make a different choice. William and Margaret were particularly warm, acting as if I were merely being temporarily willful. After all, Owen and I had come a long way together, and they had witnessed us through many ups and downs. But ignoring everyone's gaze, I sharply pulled my hand away from Owen and said coldly, "There's nothing to say. I'm over it." All the employees held their breath, not daring to utter a sound. "What nonsense are you talking about? We just got married." Owen's eyes reddened, barely able to believe what he was hearing. "If you didn't understand, I'll say it again. I'm tired of you. I want to cut my losses now." After saying this, I slapped the divorce papers from my bag onto his chest and turned to leave. "Sign these as soon as possible. My time is limited." But before I could take a few steps, Tiffany grabbed me, so forcefully that a red mark appeared on my wrist. She glared, clearly disapproving. "Can you stop being so unreasonable? You're disgracing us women. What man besides Owen would put up with you? If hadn't interned at Arthur's company back then, you'd still be an older single woman somewhere. You know, you should be thanking Owen, not making a big deal out of a small matter and being so relentless." I gave her a cold stare. "It's none of your business. You're just a secretary. Stay out of things that don't concern you." Tiffany lifted her chin. "I represent the majority of employees here, who among us approves of your actions? They are intimidated by your bullying and don't dare speak. But I'm not afraid. Owen absolutely shouldn't have to suffer this injustice for nothing, if you know what's good for you. Apologize to Owen quickly, or your position as CEO's wife won't be safe. I immediately slapped her across the face with the back of my hand, eliciting a gasp from the crowd. I'd love nothing more. Owen instantly became furious. Skylar, don't push your luck. How dare you hit Tiffany? He shoved me roughly about 10 feet away, then anxiously helped Tiffany to her feet. He then shielded her with his body, preventing any further harm. You two certainly are close, I commented, raising an eyebrow. As I pointed this out, everyone began to whisper and point at me. They all believed I had done wrong and was showing no remorse, that I was just being unreasonably jealous and troublesome. Tiffany grabbed Owen's arm from behind him and said sweetly, Owen, it's all my fault for caring about you too much and not wanting to see you bullied, Mrs. Owen probably just loves you too much. I won't try to reason with her anymore, or she'll just get angrier, she pouted, as if she had suffered some immense injustice. Thank you, Tiffany. Owen said, I got you involved. It's not your fault. He patted her hand, then turned to me, his tone softening. Skylar, please stop making a scene. Look how upset Tiffany is. Let's talk about our private matters behind closed doors. Can we discuss this after I get off work? I'll buy you anything you want. By the end of his plea, Owen was practically begging me. He presented himself as a loving, doting husband. He put me on a pedestal, making it seem as if I were the one being utterly unreasonable. William even spoke up. Skylar, we've all seen how supportive you've been of your little family. This current situation isn't what anyone wants to see. If you'll just stop this farce, I'll have Owen transfer another 10% of his shares to you. What do you say? The employees who had been defending Tiffany all looked enlightened. So that's what she's after? They whispered. Owen too nodded and looked at me expectantly. Honey, I'll give you whatever amount of money you want. Please don't divorce me. Think what you like. Give it or don't give it. But you are signing these divorce papers, I said, my expression unchanged. Skylar? Margaret, who had been silent until now, finally erupted in anger. On your first day of marriage, you're already out of control. What will you be like in the future? No shares are to be given, and Owen won't sign. You'd best take those divorce papers back. This matter ends here. Don't forget, Arthur's company is still waiting for us to save it. Bringing up Arthur, she was clearly threatening me. The onlookers secretly chuckled, anticipating my submission. However, I ignored everything and turned to leave. Downstairs, Ethan, a distant cousin Arthur had sent to pick me up, met me. I've already seen the images you sent me, Ethan said. The information is ample. My colleagues will have the evidence by this afternoon. Ethan, a private investigator, courteously shielded my head as he closed the luxury car door. Thank you, I replied. I'm going to sue Owen for divorce, and I want to take a significant portion of his assets. This evidence is very important to me. I understood that Ethan and my family's relationship was purely transactional. I closed my eyes and exhaled slowly. Sometimes pure transactional interests are more reassuring than complicated emotions. The images I sent to Ethan were photos I had taken from Owen's phone last night. He had several unusual transactions on regular workdays, each for the exact same amount he transferred to me. The recipient was an exclusive club, frequented by the affluent and influential. The days leading up to the trial were enough for me to get everything in order, determined to sever ties with Owen once and for all. During this time, I also moved out of Owen's house and into the small apartment Arthur had bought for me. However, just as I was meticulously preparing, rumors about me suddenly started circulating online. That evening, attending a banquet, I noticed many people pointing and whispering about me. Isn't that the new bride from the Yang family who made a scene about divorce on her first night? And she actually has the nerve to show her face? Oh, it's her. She was married off to wealth by her father in the first place, and she's so overconfident to demand a divorce? Just wait. Her whole family will suffer for it. Didn't Mr. Owen just not transfer enough money? Does she really think she's entitled to make such a fuss? Could she have latched onto another man? Owen is young and successful. If it were me, I'd never let go. Middle-aged professionals and rising stars in the business world alike scrutinized me with disdainful, judging eyes. I was filled with indignation, just about to call Owen to confront him. But then, his voice suddenly appeared at the banquet. Skylar, what are you doing here? This is great. That one sentence made everyone talking about me exchange awkward glances. You haven't been home these past few days. I pleaded with my mother for a long time before she agreed to let me give you this. Owen pulled out an exquisite heirloom emerald pendant. People around us disregarded their volume, gasping in surprise. Isn't that Margaret's family heirloom? Part of her dowry? She publicly stated she would only pass it down to her daughter-in-law. Mr. Owen must truly love Skylar, even with her acting so absurdly. He still secured the family heirloom emerald for her. How romantic. Everyone must be so envious. Skylar truly has a blessed life. They believed it was time for me to yield, but I still replied with an icy tone, refusing. No need, you can keep that for someone else. After all, we're getting a divorce very soon. My words created a huge stir. Owen was utterly dumbfounded. The crowd erupted, angrily denouncing me as ungrateful and saying that being entitled had its limits. I quietly made my exit and took a cab to Owen's house, the marital home where I had spent one night. When and I were in a long-distance relationship. I had a dog. After we got married, I naturally settled my dog at his house. I hadn't had time a few days ago, but now that I did, I intended to pick up my dog, Muffin. I pressed the keypad lock, but it showed an incorrect password. Frowning, I re-entered my birthday, then Owen's, but neither was correct. Just as I was about to try a fourth time, the door opened from the inside. I hadn't expected anyone to be home at this hour. Even less did I expect that person to be Tiffany. Seeing me, her lips curved into a smug smile, though she feigned surprise. Oh dear, Mrs. Owen, what brings you back at this hour? It's all my fault for already being asleep and not opening the door for you sooner. You didn't wait long, did you? I calmly retorted. Why are you here? Owen got drunk yesterday, so I brought him home and just stayed the night. You don't mind, do you, Mrs. Owen? What about the password? It's all my fault. Tiffany slapped her forehead. Owen said it wasn't safe for me, a woman, to be alone here with the original password, so he changed it to my birthday. And well, I didn't expect you to come back. Her face was apologetic, but her eyes and brows betrayed a barely concealed sneer. I nodded dismissively, walking past her directly into the house. I had just heard my dog scratching the sofa. Tiffany immediately called out, "Hey, you didn't change your shoes." I impatiently pushed her aside and once inside, saw my dog, Muffin, looking utterly forlorn. The moment I saw Muffin, I knew something was wrong. My dog was agitated and had lost weight, and my heart instantly tightened. But this wasn't the time to argue with Tiffany. I picked up Muffin, ready to leave. Instead, I first heard the jarring sound of a bowl shattering. Shards flew, cutting my calf, drawing blood, but was crueler. She deliberately made a deeper cut on her own arm with a piece of the broken bowl, then tossed the fragment to the floor. Owen, who had just opened the front door, saw Tiffany's bleeding arm. Skylar, what are you doing? He immediately rushed to stop the bleeding on Tiffany's arm, then stared at me with a fierce gaze. Tiffany is only temporarily staying here. Was it necessary to hurt her like this? Tiffany clutched Owen's hand and said, Owen, don't blame Skylar. She was just upset. It's all my fault for reacting too slowly and not dodging in time. Hearing her words, Owen grew even angrier. He picked up a shard from the floor and threw it at me. I can't believe how arrogant you are. Letting jealousy drive you to intentionally harm someone. I quickly dodged, but a small cut still appeared on my face. Given this, I stopped trying to explain. Think what you want. I'll see you in court. For a moment, Owen stared at me, wide-eyed and bewildered. I continued. If you're unwilling to separate peacefully, then I'll have no choice but to sue for divorce. Just wait for the courthouse to notify you. Tiffany looked indignant, defending Owen. Skylar, Owen keeps giving you chances, yet you keep pushing his limits. Have you lost your mind? Shut up. Owen pulled Tiffany back without even looking at her. Skylar, do you really have to go this far? Hearing's pained voice. Tiffany looked as though she'd been slapped, frozen in place. I merely withdrew my gaze and calmly comforted my startled dog, Muffin. Owen finally noticed the thin Muffin. He said, disbelievingly, are you absolutely determined to divorce me? What else? I countered. I walked directly toward the door, preparing to leave. Skylar, this is your choice. Don't regret it later. Owen's final warning was delivered with gritted teeth. I never looked back. What arrived before the trial were the overwhelming rumors spreading online. This time, every interaction between Ethan and me had been photographed by someone with ill intentions and posted online. The individual connected it to previous whispers, and overnight, I was branded a promiscuous, scandalous woman. My relative works for Owens Corporation and personally saw Skylar making a scene at the company, then driving off in the other man's luxury car. There are photos as proof. And she demanded 10% of Owens Corporation's shares, taking everything she could get. Some even claimed I specialized in fraud, making a fortune through marriages and divorces, and was supposedly the 32nd victim. I became the target of public outrage, with online commentators cursing my entire family, even using my deceased mother as a subject for mockery. But I made no response, letting all sorts of exaggerated rumors grow unchecked until the day of the trial. Before the court session, Owen kindly advised me, "Skylar, are you sure you want to confront me? It'll give you one last chance to withdraw the lawsuit, otherwise, it'll ruin your reputation today." Tiffany also spoke up, feigning concern. "Skylar, that's enough. Listen to Owen and stop this now, or I genuinely worry about your future." I let out a cold laugh. "Then let's see whose reputation is ruined today." Ignoring the relentless camera flashes from the audience, I took my seat as the plaintiff. The trial officially began. I am suing for divorce, and Owen is the culpable party. He cheated both during our relationship and after our marriage. The moment I finished speaking, the audience erupted into heated discussions. Skylar is shameless, slandering him for money. Owen is known as a good man. Who would believe such a thing? They've only been married a few days, and she dares to frame Mr. Owen like this? I think the real cheater is someone else. The judge reviewed the rebuttal materials Owen had submitted and then addressed me. Verbal statements cannot be substantiated. Furthermore, the defendant has presented intimate photographs of you entering and exiting various venues with the same man. If you cannot refute these claims and provide new evidence, the courthouse will rule against you. I submitted the documents I had prepared beforehand. The courtroom fell silent. The judge opened the images I had provided. The chat logs on the large screen were clearly visible to everyone. Owen had ordered a very peculiar special package at an exclusive club, and shortly after, transferred 2,000 yuan to that account. It was the same amount he had transferred to me on our first day of marriage. The next few images were transaction records, showing he had frequented this club more than once, ordering this special package no less than 10 times. This highly unusual pattern left the audience dumbfounded. Can I say it? When I helped my aunt catch her cheating husband, I saw similar transfers. Owen pretends to be such a gentleman on the surface, but how could he be frequenting sex workers in private? You really can't judge a book by its cover. No wonder Skylar was making a scene and insisting on a divorce. The spectators pointed and whispered, and Owen's face flushed crimson. You've all misunderstood. Tiffany quickly interjected. Owen only goes to these places for business discussions. Many affluent and influential individuals frequent this club for meetings. I can vouch for that because I always go with Owen. Although, because I'm not high-ranking enough, I always wait outside, but has been in contact with every single one of those affluent and influential people. If you don't believe me, you can ask them. After listening to Tiffany's seemingly genuine explanation, the audience members largely agreed. Yes, there are such clubs for private conversations. Those aren't places our social class can access. It's normal for an unsophisticated woman like Skylar to misunderstand. This misunderstanding has really escalated. Skylar isn't making a scene about divorce just because of this, is she? Wouldn't she be suffering a huge loss? If this gets out, Owen's reputation will be completely ruined by her. The crowd once again started blaming me. Seeing this, Tiffany declared loudly, Skylar, didn't you always look down on us lowly employees for being poor and unsophisticated? Now you've made a huge mistake yourself and caused Owen such embarrassment. If it were me, I'd be too ashamed to show my face. Yet you can stand there without batting an eye. I truly admire that. Her words spurred the onlookers to curse me even more fiercely. Owen, too, looked at me with a pained expression. Even in Margaret, who had been silent, stood up and pointed their fingers at me. Since you're so determined to slander my son today, then I won't hold back either. I must have been blind to treat you like my own daughter, only for you to turn around and bite me. I shouldn't have saved Arthur back then. I should be let him die so you wouldn't be clinging to our Owen. It's truly ungrateful. Margaret was so furious she pounded her chest, and the onlookers grew even more indignant. They were live streaming everything happening in the courtroom. Even online commentators began to denounce me through their screens. That club is a front for illicit activities, and anyone going in with Owen isn't up to any good. Facing their insults, I spoke calmly, however. I won't dwell on this particular matter. I'm sure the resourceful online commentators will uncover the truth easily enough. Next, I have a video I'd like to present to everyone. The judge projected the video onto the large screen, but everyone seemed unimpressed. Owen even looked subtly triumphant, believing that with everyone on his side, anything I did would be futile. However, when the video began to play, his expression became frantic, because the large screen was showing footage from Owen's home, the marital home where I had spent one night. Skylar, when did you install a security camera in the living room? I told you about it the day before the wedding, over the phone. Did you forget? He had been drunk that day, but my phone's automatic recording captured his agreement. Owen's face changed, clearly remembering. The large screen displayed footage from the day I went home to pick up my dog, showing Tiffany deliberately cutting herself and then framing me. Seeing the truth, everyone's faces registered shock. Owen's face paled slightly, and he looked at Tiffany with an unfamiliar expression. It really was you. Tiffany frantically shook her head, but behind her, voices started cursing her, so the manipulative woman was someone else all along. This plays dirty tricks. Then was her testimony for Owen about the club also false? After all, she cares so much about Owen. It's possible she deliberately lied to protect him. Is there something wrong with Owen? Isn't he Skylar's husband? How could he believe Tiffany without even asking a single question? The audience finally realized something was amiss, and the live comments were filled with anticipation for a reversal. Owen's face clearly showed his guilt. He forced a smile and said to me, "Honey, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you before. You can punish me however you want. Can we drop the lawsuit now? I still want to live happily with you." I snorted coldly, refusing, seeing no sign of reconciliation from me. Owen finally panicked. "Honey, all of this is my fault. I'll fire Tiffany right now. Let's go home. Don't let outsiders laugh at us." Sweat beaded on his forehead as he looked at me expectantly. Tiffany stared at Owen in disbelief, her mouth agape, speechless. I replied blandly, "Now that it's your turn, it's a laughing stock. Who was it that wanted to ruin my reputation in the first place?" I then instructed the judge to play the remaining video. This time, it was footage of what Tiffany had claimed, bringing a drunk Owen home and staying overnight. As soon as Tiffany brought Owen home, they immediately started touching each other inappropriately. Skylar is frigid. I only transferred money to her to liven things up. She's so headstrong. Making a scene in court over such a trivial matter. Tiffany, you're so much better. If we have fun tonight, I'll transfer money to you too. There wasn't a hint of drunkenness in Owen's eyes. The courtroom erupted into a clamor, and everyone looked at Owen and Tiffany with changed expressions. Isn't she basically selling herself? And actually agreed, judging by Owen's familiarity. This isn't his first time, is it? Wait. Then his visits to the club. Could that also be? The video continued to play. Owen led Tiffany throughout the entire new home. They even kicked my dog, Muffin, who was on the floor. Driven by lust, they were utterly devoid of reason from that moment on. Whether it was the audience who had previously been condemning me or the bystanders watching the live stream, everyone sided with me. Pause the playback immediately. You're invading my privacy. Tiffany glared at me furiously. Owen, his face deathly pale, recoiled to steps, shaking his head and repeating, "It wasn't me. This isn't me." Tiffany's eyes flashed, and she immediately spoke up. "This is clearly a fake video you made using AI." Owen paused, startled. After realizing what she said, he nodded frantically. "You were photographed in intimate pictures with that man before. You're afraid of losing the case, so you deliberately made this dirty video to turn the tables. I can't believe that after all these years together, you would use such despicable tactics to slander me." Even with irrefutable evidence, he verbally dismissed it as fake, and some people still believed him. That scandalous woman Skylar truly stops at nothing. She's actually using a fake video to deceive people. She's undoubtedly a con artist. It's terrifying to be entangled with her. Owen's face once again showed a hint of triumph, and Tiffany wore an expression of "What can you do to me? I'll return that slanderous remark to you, word for word." I spoke calmly, directly pulling out an official forensic report from a national institution. Surprised? "I anticipated your tricks. This document proves that the videos I played are all authentic." As the forensic report was revealed, Owen was dumbfounded. Everyone who had sided with Owen and Tiffany was speechless. Many people began to voice their opinions again. "I think Owen is a cheater and frequented sex workers. He always pretended to be a gentleman. Otherwise, Skylar wouldn't have only found out after getting married. She's definitely going to get a large share of the assets, right? Owen is going to bleed money." Seeing this, Owen decided to throw caution to the wind. "So what, Skylar? Haven't you done anything to wrong me? The moment you brought up divorce, a man came to pick you up. I don't believe he's not your adulterer." By this point, Tiffany no longer pretended to be a victim and echoed Owen's sentiment. "Exactly, at most, both sides are at fault. And you're no angel either. They attempted to use this angle to have me lose the case. But I immediately followed up, presenting new evidence. My relationship with that man is indeed unusual. That's because he's my cousin, Ethan." As soon as I finished, the audience had an epiphany. "So that's it? Owen truly projects his own filth onto everything." Owen immediately retorted, "Impossible. I've met all your relatives our age. There's no cousin like the one you're talking about. Don't try to use this excuse to deceive everyone." Unfortunately, at this point, no matter how he tried to refute me, no one would believe him anymore. After all, his and Tiffany's credibility had long been shattered and lost amidst a string of previous lies, whether it's true or false. The judge will know once they examine these documents. Inside were all the proofs of kinship between Ethan and me. The man who picked me up is merely my distant cousin. He was working secretly abroad before. His identity couldn't be exposed, and he only recently returned to the country. On the large screen, the documents I provided clearly illustrated our blood relationship. Owen stumbled back a few steps, his hands trembling uncontrollably. The entire room erupted into an unprecedented discussion. "Oh my God, this Owen is absolute trash. He's just newly married and already having an affair with someone close to him." "Exactly. He's a scumbag, yet he conspired with the other woman to frame his wife. That isn't any better either. Did you forget that in the first video, she claimed Skylar hurt her? May those adulterers go to hell together." Skylar is really unlucky to have encountered two such oddballs. The spectators in the gallery now showed me sympathy and goodwill. Silence. The judge's gavel came down, and Owen was quickly ruled against, as per my demands. Owen had to sign the divorce papers on the spot and assign a substantial portion of his assets to me. Before he could speak, Tiffany expressed her displeasure. "Why should he? Owen earned everything himself. How dare you try to seize it?" Before I could say anything, Ethan, who had just arrived at the courthouse, spoke up, because he climbed his way up by stepping on Arthur's company back then. Ethan presented the evidence he had just acquired, which contained the truth about Arthur's company's decline that year. If he hadn't set a trap for Arthur back then, I wouldn't have had to appeal to Owen. I had been kept in the dark for so many years, treating his family as benefactors. Seeing that I knew everything, Owen collapsed where he stood. "It's not like that. Listen to me. I genuinely liked you back then, that's why." I cut him off sharply. "There's no need to mention those unimportant things regardless." It was a fact that Arthur had always been suppressed by the Owen family. Seeing so vulnerable, Tiffany frowned and patted him twice. "You're upset. What does that mean? I'm still here. What are you even? Just a cheap hooker? And you actually think you're important?" The judge stopped their argument and enforced the terms upon Owen. Coming out of the courthouse, a large crowd of media was waiting for interviews. Ethan told me that online commentators had already uncovered the true purpose of the club Owen had frequented. It was indeed a place for spoiled scions to indulge in revelry. Not only that, but they had also unearthed the club's regular patrons based on subtle clues. Owen had disturbed the interests of certain individuals. He became their target, and his days ahead would not be easy. As for Tiffany, she was universally condemned online, becoming a notorious public figure. As for me, having acquired countless resources and businesses, I decided to entrust them to Arthur's management. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comment section.